everybody. Welcome to Chair Yoga. Great to see you all again. I feel like it's been so long, but it's only really been a week or so. Well, I hope classes with Carol went well. I'm sure they did. She's excellent. While we wait for other people to log in, if you are new to class, it's always nice to know who you are. So if you are new, feel free to go to the chat, which is usually at the bottom center of your Zoom screen, and just share your name and maybe what city or state you're calling from. And of course, it's really nice to see lots of familiar names and faces. And we'll get started in about a minute or two.
Hey, Dora, this is Margaret. On Wednesdays, I always have to leave a few minutes early because I have a 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock class. Yeah, this is 12 o'clock. So that's why I always run off early.
No problem, no problem. Always nice to know that. And that goes for anybody. If you need to leave early, you do you, no problem. Here we go. I see something in the chat. Oh, okay. Hi from Berkeley. Great. I live in San Francisco, so we're just across the bridge.
Hey, Adra, I was hoping my camera was working right. I've had to talk to them 3 times now, and it's still not working right. So I hope you enjoy seeing Bernie, Senator Bernie.
But I did see you for a moment though, so it's kind of funny. I think yours is like in and out.
I know. Crazy, crazy computers.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, and we've got new member from Arizona, from Phoenix. Awesome. I was briefly in Phoenix. I want to say this was a year ago, and it was, what month of it? It was like February, and it was so hot, and I was so amazed by how hot it is in Phoenix. Even when I think it was February. I can't remember what it was, but it was cold in California and very hot there. Okay, we've got Karen and Marianne from White Bear Lake. Awesome. All right, well, glad to have some new people here, and of course, our usuals. Welcome back. Let's get going. So today is chair yoga. Just a reminder, we alternate between chair yoga and functional fitness. Our calendar has been kind of funny the last month just because I was traveling, but today's chair yoga. Before we get moving, just a quick reminder of what else GoGo offers. So in addition to these classes, you can access rides, meals, groceries, medication delivery, and home services. So anything you need done in or around your house, all by calling one number. And that phone number is 855-464-6872. Also, a reminder that we have a referral program. So if you go to the bottom of your GoGo receipts, there is a code. If you give that code to a friend, once they've taken their first service with GoGo, you will both receive $10 in credit. We also have a Facebook group. So if you ever want to continue any of our conversations online or just see how other people are using GoGo, you can find us on Facebook, and we'll share a link to the chat. So you can just click on the link and find our page there. And with that, I'll introduce myself. So if we haven't met, I'm Adra. I teach the yoga and the functional fitness classes here at GoGo on Wednesdays and Fridays. We used to have a class on Mondays, but Wednesdays and Fridays now. Let's see, what do we need today? So for our chair yoga, this class is primarily seated. All you need is a chair. Preferably a sturdy chair that's not going to roll out from under you or fall over. I use a chair without armrests, but if all you have is a chair with armrests, that's fine. You know, grab whatever you have. Even if all you have is a couch, that's okay too. it's just a little bit easier to move freely with a sturdy chair like mine that doesn't have armrests, but as always, we want to make it work for you and whatever you have. We're not going to do, since I was gone, there's no move of the week. I'll give you a new move now, today, at the end of class, but we're not going to worry about the move of the week. I'm guessing Caro didn't do that, and it just too complicated. Let's simplify. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I think I see something else in the chat. Oh yeah, so there's the link to the Facebook group here in the chat. And one last sip of coffee and we'll get started. So my screen should come up as your nice and big screen. However, sometimes your settings override our settings. So if for some reason you don't see me nice and big, you can adjust your settings by moving your cursor to the top right-hand corner of your Zoom screen. And something will pop up, kind of the square will pop up that says view. If you pick speaker view, you'll see me nice and big. If you pick gallery view, you'll see everybody else. So just know that you can adjust that from your end if for some reason I'm not showing up nice and big for you. One more thing, I'm going to move my mic closer to me so you can all hear me really well. Let's get moving. So from your seat, we'll start to take some circles with your torso. Just checking in. It's this time to notice, how is your body feeling? And let's circle the other way. Noticing any tight spots, any spots that feel particularly good. And then coming back to center. Sitting tall, let's do a few shoulder rolls forward. And a few shoulder rolls back. And then allow the shoulders to relax and close the eyes or soften your gaze towards the ground. Just taking a few moments to let go of the day so far, to let go of what needs to happen later, and settle into here and now. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling mentally. So just noticing what thoughts are showing up. Are they thoughts of the past or the future? Where is your mind? And then checking in emotionally. What feelings are present? What emotions are present? And then checking in physically. How is your body doing? Are there any aches, pains, areas that feel particularly good today? Areas that are hard to sense? Just notice what's there. What are we starting with? So we've checked in mentally, emotionally, and physically. In yoga, we often say, start where you are. Start where you are. So we've sort of checked in. Where are we? We're all in our own separate places, our own separate mindsets and physical sensations and being. And just allow yourself to be where you are. So not where you were yesterday, not where you want to be, but allowing yourself to be where you are today and moving through our practice with that in mind. So if I ever offer something that feels like too much or not enough, then you are in charge of your own practice to adjust, to make it work for you. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose, fill your lungs. Exhale out the mouth, let it go. Again, deep inhale through the nose. And let it go. Feel free to keep your eyes closed or you can open them. We'll begin to rotate the head, no. So you're just turning the head right and left. And then nodding the head, yes. Looking up and down. Bringing your head back to center, we'll bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. Pause, feeling a nice stretch along the side of the neck. And other ear to shoulder. Again, pause. Back to center. One more time each side. Right ear towards the right shoulder. This time, maybe your left fingertips reach downward, just to give you a little more stretch. And then switch hand back to your lap, other ear to shoulder. Maybe those right fingertips reach downward. And then bringing your hand back to your lap, head back to center. Let's do those shoulder rolls forward. We'll start with just these small shoulder rolls. Really noticing if there are any parts of that circle that you're drawing with your shoulders that you're skipping over. Sometimes there are spots that we don't like to go into, and see if you can really even out that circle. So you go as far back as you go forward, as far up as you go down. And also finding that the circles are really happening from the shoulders and not the spine. So sensing that it's the shoulder blades and the arm bones moving and not your torso. So sometimes we decide to try and move our rib cage or our spine to make it feel or seem as though our shoulders are doing more motion. Take your shoulders the other direction, and same thing. Notice, are there spots that you're avoiding? Areas where you're having a hard time touching. If you had paint on kind of the arm bones or the head of the shoulders, would you be able to draw these nice even circles, or would they be jagged? And then allow those shoulders to relax, and let's move into our wrists. Let's do some wrist circles. So I'm doing outward circles, but it doesn't matter which direction you go. We'll go both ways. So you could go both to the right or both to the left. I'm doing both outward. And then circles go the other way. And then letting those hands relax, let's interlace the fingers and push those palms forward, stretching those forearms, stretching those hands. Hands can be up about chest height, or if it's more comfortable for you, arms can go low or anywhere in between. And then releasing the hands, and let's bend the elbows like we're holding a platter. So it's a 90-degree bend. Our hands are in front of us like we're holding a platter. As you inhale, externally rotate those arms so those thumbs reach back and those fingers are facing out to the side or towards the walls on either side of you. You're not moving your spine, so it's just your arms. And then exhale, hands come back towards each other, back to that platter. So we inhale, externally rotate, thumbs reach back. Exhale, fingers come back towards each other. Keep going. Few more. Next time your arms are out to the side, we'll pause and hold 3 breaths, reaching those thumbs back, really finding that rotation in those arms. And then release the hands to your lap. Let's move into the spine. We'll inhale, pull the chest forward, elbows back, stretch the front of the body. Gaze goes up to where the wall meets the ceiling. And then exhale, round the back, curve your spine. Drop your chin, tuck your tail. I'll give you a side view as well. So we inhale, pull the chest forward, elbows go back. We're stretching the front of the body. And then exhale, round the back, curve the spine, arms can go forward. A few times here at your own pace. You can stay like this, or you can add your arms. So as your chest comes forward and you inhale, arms can reach out to the side and back. And then as you round your back and curve your spine, you'll internally rotate those arms and bring the backs of the hands to touch, dropping the chin. So we inhale, open the palms, chest lifts, arms are optional. And then exhale as you curve the spine, backs of the hands touch or the wrists touch. So keep going here at your own pace, just a few more. And then coming back to center, sitting nice and tall. Arms can rest by your side. And we'll go into some side bending. So reaching one hand downward, stretching the side of the body, coming back through center. And then other hand stretches downward, watching that you're really going sideways and you're not twisting or arching the back. And just keep going here at your own pace. Moving in a range that feels good. So we've only really just begun. So if you feel like you need to make this smaller, that's totally fine. Listen to your body, make this work for you. If you'd like to add a reach of the arm, as one hand reaches down, the other arm can reach upward. And then vice versa, as that arm reaches down, the other arm can reach upward. So options. Maybe one more each side. And coming back to center. Hands can rest on your lap. We're going to go into some twisting here. So we'll twist our spine one direction, come through center, and then twist the spine the other way. So the arms can slide on your thighs. The hands can slide on your legs as you twist. So you're just twisting right and left. As you do this, see if you can keep your legs still. So imagine you are squeezing a block between your knees. And you don't want to lose that block. You're squeezing it really firmly so that that motion that we're having here is coming from the middle part of the spine and not the lower part of the spine. So nothing wrong with twisting the lower part of the spine, but we're just trying to get this motion a little bit higher. And we'll go ahead and twist one way and hold a couple of breaths. Notice where your breath goes here. And then twist the other way and hold a couple of breaths. And come back to center. Let's move our attention now to our feet. So the front third of the feet will stay on the ground. So toes and ball of the feet will stay down as we go into some heel raises, alternating lifting one heel and then the other. So toes stay down, ball of the foot stays down. We're lifting and lowering that heel. We're feeling that motion through the foot and into the calf. So we're feeling those calf muscles working. You can keep moving through these heel raises. Or if you'd like, we'll start to move into some marching, so completely lifting the foot off of the ground as you go. And then let's let that go. We'll go ahead and stretch. I'm just turning sideways so you can see. Let's stretch that right leg forward in front of us. So the left knee is going to stay bent and the foot's on the ground. That right leg's going to straighten out in front of us. Sometimes helps to scooch forward towards the front edge of the chair if you're having a hard time getting into this position. We're going to move into that ankle motion again, similar to what we were doing with the heel raises, but we're just going to point and flex the foot. So our leg is straight now. The right leg is straight as we move through the ankle and the foot. So pointing the foot, toes reach down towards the ground, and then flexing the foot, toes reach up towards the ceiling. Next time your foot is flexed or the toes are up, we'll go ahead and pause. Let's rotate through the leg. So we'll externally rotate the leg so the toes will point out to the right. That thigh is rotating as well. So it's not just the foot moving, but the knee is going to face out to the right as well. And then we'll internally rotate so the toes and the knee will turn in a little bit or to the left. So we're rotating through that leg. So we're internally and externally rotating the leg. Thinking about this motion coming from the thigh bone, I'll give you sort of a front view. It is hard to see, but we're rotating from the thigh. So if you look at my hand is moving as well. It's not just the foot moving. And then we'll go into that out position. So when the thigh and the knee are pointing out, it doesn't need to be extreme. You're just going slightly out. We're going to keep that position of the leg. So toes and knee are facing to the right or out to the side as best you can. And then we'll lean a little bit forward. So you're going to feel the stretch here in your leg. It's not the traditional center hamstring stretch when the toes are up. It feels a little different. You might feel it more on the side of the leg or into the calf. Everyone's different. Just notice, where do you feel this? You can stay up onto your hands. You could also bend your elbows to bring yourself closer to the leg to get a deeper stretch. Watch that you're keeping your spine relatively long and that you're thinking about reaching your sits bones and your tailbone back towards
towards the wall behind you. So just watching that you're not curving the spine or rounding the back. So I'm going to show you what you're avoiding. We're not doing this. So when we round and curve like this, we lose a lot of the stretch because we're bringing the attachment points of the hamstring closer to each other. What we want is to really pull the sits bones away from the back of the knee, or you can think about that tailbone away from the back of the knee as you come forward. Let's bring the torso back up. Now we're going to turn the leg in. So the foot moves through center and then the toes and the knee will point inward. Again, you're just going to whatever range works for you. Doesn't matter how deep you go, hands come to your thigh and then you lean forward again. Same thing, we're trying to keep the spine really long and we're trying not to tuck the tail under. So if anything, you're thinking, can I reach my tail back behind me or towards the ceiling? Knee and foot are pointing inward to some degree. And we're breathing, we're holding. Arms could be straight or bent. It's really up to you what degree stretch you need. Bring your torso back through center and then bring those toes to point up towards the ceiling. So now we're centered. Knees and toes are pointing up. We're not going to hold the stretch. We're going to move forward and back now. So we'll inhale, lean forward. Feel the stretch intensify. And then exhale, sit tall, back away from the stretch. So just several times here. Moving in and out of the stretch with your breath. And sitting tall. Let's rebend the knee. Let's windshield wiper those knees side to side. Just shake it off. Reset. And then we'll go to the other side. So other leg lengthens nice and long. So left leg is straight, right knee is bent. And we'll start by moving through the ankle. So we're pointing and flexing the foot. With a relatively straight leg if possible. All right, and then we'll flex the foot, toes up to the ceiling and pause. And we'll go into that rotation. So we'll externally rotate. So the knees and the toes, or your knee and the toes face to the left. And then internally rotate, knee and toes go inward or to the right. So we'll go out and in. Thinking about this rotation coming through the entire leg. So that thigh bone is rotating in the hip socket. It's not just the foot moving. We'll go to that externally rotated position or the position where the toes and the knee are facing to the left, and then lean forward, holding the stretch, keeping that foot flexed if you can. You can be up onto your hands or you could bend your elbows when you're on your hands. We're trying to keep the spine long, so watch that you're not rounding the back and curving the spine. You'll lose a lot of stretch there. You'll get a lot more benefit from being just upright and just leaning forward an inch and keeping that sit bone back or thinking about bringing it towards the ceiling than letting your spine round and getting closer to your knees. So it's really not about the position of where your face is in relationship to the leg, right? It's not about bringing your face to your knee. Lift your torso back up And now we'll internally rotate. So toes and your knee will turn inward or to the right. Hold that position, keep the flex in the foot, and lean forward. Again, it doesn't matter how far you go. Bring yourself back to center. Bring your toes back to center. So toes up towards the ceiling, knee up towards the ceiling. And we'll go forward and back. So we'll inhale, lean forward, feel the stretch. Exhale, sit up, back away from the stretch. So now our leg is centered as we move forward and back. Follow your breath. So one direction is inhale, the other is exhale. Don't worry so much if you have it right. Just make sure you're still breathing and moving with your breath. And the next time you're sitting tall, go ahead and stay there. Rebend your knee and windshield wiper your knee side to side. Just shake it off. Let's come back to that cat-cow position or the motion of our spine. So we'll inhale, pull the chest forward, reach the arms out to the side and back. Exhale, curve the spine, bring the backs of the hands to touch. So really find your breath here. A couple of times, you're just flowing with your spine and your arms with your breath. So don't worry about my speed or anybody else's. All right, let's make our way back to center. We'll be moving into our standing portion of class. This part of class is only for a couple of minutes. If standing is not for you, feel free to stay in your chair, do some motions there, do some stretches there. No problem. We'll be seated again in a couple of minutes. If you are up for standing, go ahead and make your way up and let's come behind our chair. If you cannot get behind your chair, please find a wall or a table, something to hold on to for safety so that you're nice and steady and not worried about your balance. Let's begin by taking our feet close together. So as close as is comfortable. So that might be touching. If that doesn't feel right for you, they're not touching. They're just close to each other. Your support is in front of you or next to you that you can hold on to at any point. If you feel steady with your feet close to each other, you can let go of your support, but know that you can grab on at any point. From here, just pause and notice where your weight is distributed on your feet. So is your weight back or forward or even? Is it more to the right or to the left? And we'll begin to sway, letting our weight shift forward and back. So you'll let your weight shift forward into the toes, into the balls of the feet, without lifting the heels. So the heels are gonna lighten, so right, they're not on the ground as thoroughly or as firmly, but they're still touching the ground. And then shift back into your heels. Maybe the toes lift when you shift back, just don't let the balls of the feet lift. So those pads, they stay down, but maybe the toes lift. So you're gonna let yourself shift forward into the toes and then back into the heels. Keep going. And again, if you need to, you grab on, right? You can use support the entire time as needed. and then find center. So even right to left, or sorry, front to back. And then now we'll go right to left. So you'll let yourself sway to one side and then to the other. And again, being close to something if you need to hold on. You can always step out of the position as well. So sensing that as you shift to one side, you'll feel the outer part of that foot and the inner arch of the other foot. And then as you switch to the other side, you'll feel the outer edge of that foot and the inner edge of the other foot. So you're just feeling that sort of inner outer edge. Letting your whole body move with this. As you go right to left, notice if your weight wants to shift forward or back. And can it be relatively even front to back as you go right and left? And then let's find center. So even right to left, front to back. And now we'll draw circles. So you'll let your weight shift forward into the toes and then shift over to one side. Doesn't matter which side. So if I were mirroring you, it would be going to the left and then shifting back towards the heels, then over to the second side and then forward. We're going to do that circle again. If you need more challenge, close your eyes and do it. So you're going to let the weight shift to one side. Eyes can be open or closed. Back to the second side. And forward. Open the eyes if you close your eyes. And then we go the other way. So switch directions. You're doing that first circle, the second direction. And you'll pause once you reach the front. So no rush. I haven't reached the front yet, but pause once you reach the front. And then if you need more challenge for that last circle or the second circle on the second side, close your eyes. Once you've completed your circle, you can open the eyes, find that even weight, front to back, right to left. Let's go into a little chair pose. We'll bend our knees, let the hips go back. Hands can be on your chair. You could stay with your hands on your chair or your wall for support, or you could reach those arms forward, bring them parallel to the earth, or reach the arms up. 3 deep breaths. Hands come back to your support, straighten those legs. Let's find a chair dog or an upside down L. Walk your feet back, bring your torso parallel-ish to the ground. So your torso could be up a little bit higher, it could be down more. Arms could be bent or straight. Your legs can be bent or straight. Couple of deep breaths. Lift your torso up, walk your feet forward. And let's come back down to our seat. Let's get into our hips now that we're back down onto our seat. So we'll go into a figure 4 or a variation of figure 4. We can cross the right ankle over the left ankle and let the knee open out to the side. So you're creating that figure 4 shape. Lots of options. If that doesn't work for you, or if you want something a little more, you could put your foot up onto a stool and go into a figure 4. You could also cross your legs. That moves the stretch somewhere else, but it's still beneficial and interesting. Other option would be to go into a traditional figure 4 where you're crossing your ankle over your thigh. So lots of options. Pick what works for you. And then once you're in your position, just let yourself sort of rock a little side to side with your torso. You're sort of adjusting, you're playing around, rocking a little side to side, and then rocking a little forward and back, noticing what do you feel? And then start to draw those circles with your torso. So with whatever leg position you're in, we're drawing some circles. See if you can start to bring your breath into this. So maybe you inhale for half of your circle and exhale for the other half. Or maybe your breath is long enough that you could inhale for an entire circle And exhale for the next circle. So find what works for you, but make sure your breath is a part of this. And then as you're ready, feel free to go the other direction. So same thing, once you switch directions, figure out your breath. And then make your way back to center. Notice what you're feeling in your body. And then release the leg, shake it off. And we'll find our second side. So left ankle crosses over the right. Let the knee open out to the side. So if you're going into that ankle cross position, your knees are not together. You're letting that knee open out to the side. You could also put your foot up onto something like a stool, and that'll just increase the stretch a little bit. You could move into a cross-legged seat. Again, that moves the stretch somewhere else, and that's okay. Or go into a figure four, crossing your ankle over your thigh. So find what works for you, and then let yourself sway a little right and left. Sort of finding your seat. You're sort of finding the weight shifting right to left. And then let that weight shift a little forward and back. It's like you're settling in. You sometimes see animals do that with their beds. They sort of move around, they shift around until they find that right spot, and then they settle in. And then we'll circle one direction. Either way is fine. And again, as we circle, you'll start to find that breath. So one option would be to inhale half the circle and exhale the other half. Or maybe you inhale for an entire circle and then exhale for the next circle. So up to you. If you haven't already, start to think about switching directions and do that when you want. We just want to make sure we go both ways. And then find center. Pause for a moment. Feel what you're feeling. And let go of the leg. Undo it, shake it off. All right, finding your seat nice and comfortable. You can even scooch back into your chair if you'd like here. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and up towards the ceiling. Palms touch, exhale, hands lower towards the heart. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, arms circle out and up, reaching tall, taking up space. Palms touch, exhale, hands to the heart. One more. Inhale, arms circle out and up. Exhale, hands lower towards the heart. Let's place one hand on top of the other against your chest, against your heart. If this is too uncomfortable, you can always let your arms go. Go ahead and close your eyes or soften your gaze for a few moments. And see if you can feel the movement of your breath beneath your palms. So the gentle rise and fall of the chest as you breathe. And if it's comfortable, you might even be able to tune into your heartbeat. And then check in with how you're doing mentally. How you're doing emotionally. And how you're doing physically. And then take a moment to thank yourself for taking time to take care of your mind and your body. Palms touch. Namaste. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining today. So great to be back and to have you here. Our move of the week is it's sort of a general move because it can be done seated or standing. It is noticing your weight shifts forward and back. So we did a lot of that seated, of this feeling of like what happens when I come forward and back. So you might notice that when you're seated eating dinner or just sitting in the couch. Are you always back? Are you always forward? And the same thing when we're standing. So if you're up and about, noticing when you're standing, is your weight forward? Is your weight back? So playing with those weight shifts. So I'm going to say the move of the week is weight shift forward and back. And that could mean standing weight shift forward and back or seated weight shift forward and back. I'm looking side to side because I'm looking for where I might access a pen to write that down. Oh, there it is. And you should write that down as well. And write that down and then I'll open it up for any questions or thoughts. So weight shift forward and back for our move of the week, or Wednesday yoga move of the week. All right. So I'm seeing Miss Chloe in the chat here. Thanks, beautiful. Glad to see you again. Blessings to all of you. Peace. Thank you. That's very sweet, Miss Chloe. All right. So if anybody has any thoughts, feelings, questions, we have a couple of minutes. Now is your time. You could go into the chat and use that, or you can also unmute yourself and share out loud. Oops. And of course, if you're ready to go and you have things to do, no problem, go do you. How was class with Caro? Yes, awesome, good. I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. Great, good, okay, good. She's amazing. We used to teach together when I used to teach at the VA hospital. Oh yeah, and V put in the chat that you'll get a follow-up email. And then you can just subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to find our recordings. It usually takes about a week for this class, right, to be posted, but there are lots of other classes available. Well, Friday is functional fitness. So if you're new to that, I think most people here have been there, but that's more of a standing class, a little more challenging, a little more active.
Adra, this is Carol. Hope to see you next week. I've been gone for about 3 weeks. I've had issues one way and another, so I haven't been here for 3 weeks. But everything's calmed down now, so.
I'm sorry that things have been kind of crazy for you, but I'm glad you're back. I guess I missed 3 classes, so Good timing, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it was. See you next week.
See you next week. Ross is asking if I changed my hairstyle. No, I haven't had a haircut in a couple of months, maybe 3-4 months, but you know, my hair is different every morning. It wakes up, I wake up and it looks different. Never know what I'm gonna get.
How do I get a hold to your YouTube channel? And what's the information on that, beautiful?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that. All I heard was YouTube and I repeat that for me.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Let's see. Please, how I go by getting the application to your YouTube channel? How do we go by doing that, please?
Yeah, so do you see the chat right now?
Okay, I'm going to go to it right now.
So if you go to the chat,
Yes, please.
about like 5 chats up, V wrote something that you'll get a follow-up email, and then there's a link to the YouTube channel there.
Awesome.
Do you see
I
that?
see it. Thank you.
So if
Yes,
you click,
please. Thank you.
perfect. And you can click subscribe, and then you'll get messages when we post a new video.
Thank you, done deal. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, everybody. Well, so good to see you again. Pleasure as always. Try and play with that move of the week, so that shift a little forward and back. Notice when you're doing it or where you like to live. A lot of us like to live back when we're seated and forward when we're standing. So I'll be curious to hear what you experience. And I will see you hopefully on Friday or next week for functional fitness or our next yoga class. Bye, everybody. Thank you.